No class or book is going to give you all of the information or knowledge about any subject. That's what study is for. In fact, you shouldn't want them to, because what you're trying to do is tap within your own nature, spiritual nature, to get insights, revelations, dreams, and flashes. When you read or study a particular spiritual subject, your spirit, your consciousness gets involved and gives up insights. You know, Moorish science virtually represents in modern times the keys to unraveling mysteries. We're not in the period of mystery. In fact, one of the reasons, karmically, why the African lost control, he kept the secrets beyond the point of the period of secrets. And we'll get to that when we get to Pisces, but revelation is not to be told to you. It is to be unraveled from within you. My intent is to give you more than a running chance at that, because much of the literature up there is hint-wise. And that's the way it should be. There's a verse in Isaiah that makes reference to that. Line upon line, order upon order, a little here and a little there. And he's not just referring to the scriptures, he's referring to the spiritual path of knowledge and truth. You're not going to get it in one place. Part of the problem of the Christian ministry is that they can't get outside of theology to deal with the scriptures. We're going to look at the book that confounds the fundamentalist Christian ministry more than any other book of the scriptures, and that's the book of Revelation. When I mentioned the idea important to understand that it is the creator, the universe, that hides knowledge, not man. That's not his first promotion. Mystery means private knowledge, keep out. It is a privilege to know truth, not a birthright. Okay. If you wonder why some folks can't get to it, they have not gained the inner stature to even search, let alone unravel it. Huh? Okay. Vitality is power. Fire is vitality. Fire is power. From fire comes light, comes energy, comes the stimulus that causes things to grow. That's the significance of the sun. The emphasis of feeling the sun ray on my thigh was to give you more than a picturesque view of how powerful the physical sun is. But if you apply the law of correspondence to everything we talk about, then you know that if there's a physical sun, there's a spiritual sun that must be more powerful than the physical, because it's the spiritual that produces it. I don't know if I made this commentary in here or just to somebody on the side. Symbolization. That everything in creation is a symbol of that which is spiritual. That's why ALLAH makes so much sense. Okay. Okay. Arm, leg, arm, head. In terms of the concept in English letters of Allah. Okay. If you have a Bible, I didn't see anybody reach and grab one, so I won't say that. But let me further encourage you. Bring your scriptures within. Mark in the book. It's not a sin to mark in the Bible. Remember, I was writing a number for a brother in his apartment. And I didn't have anything right, so I picked up the Bible and started writing the numbers. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, don't. Yeah, it's good to have respect for things that are considered sacred. But it is better to know what they mean than just to have religious consideration because somebody says it's holy, not even know what the word holy means. That's childish. That isn't even a good babe. My intent here is first to deal with something important. Evidently, it's appropriate because the sister here is a minister, and maybe I can help solve some of the clashes of higher or advanced knowledge in reference to fundamental biblical.
Let me say something.
Belief history.
A conscious defrosting of oneself. That's a better interpretation of who I am.
Of what, dude?
A conscious defrocking of oneself.
A conscious defrocking of oneself. Very
Yes.
good. Okay. A conscious defrocking of oneself. Very good. That means she's peeling back the ego to get to the diamond in the rough. I can certainly appreciate that. Revelations 21 is the chapter we're going to deal with in this mystery of all mysteries, highlighted by a statement by an ancient black woman. I am the one who is and was and is to come, and no man has lifted, or no man can lift my veil, she says, quoted from Isis, who represents the mother Zedekias. And as you recall, if you do, Zedekias is the ancient word for zodiac. And also, if you've read the Kybalion, you'll then know that the universe is feminine in its manifestation. That woman represents the universe. And the appropriateness here is first dealing with the let me see if you all remember this one. The GAOTU means what? The G, A, here's my chalk. That's a Masonic code. In other words, even in class or lecture form, they'll say in the GAOTU, and then go on, because everyone in that particular class is supposed to know what those initials represent. The grand architect of the universe. We're going to look at the architectural structure of this grand architect. And it's in this book that every good Christian holds to be not only the truth, but the only truth. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and there is no longer any sea. You recall me talking about this word here.
Okay, yeah. Remember that.
What does it mean? Don't look in the book. You're supposed to look up here and tell me exactly what that means.
Okay.
Testimenti.
Testimenti.
Testi.
Testi.
Sounds like what word? Testicle.
Testicles, yeah.
Which is what?
Is the body.
Right.
And menti is the mind.
Right. Okay. Very good. Hold fast to the fact that you have learned and you're trying to recall. So don't do this one. Don't say I don't know. Because as soon as you do that, your subconscious helps you not know. Say it. It'll come to me. Then your subconscious gets busy kicking it up. Okay? We defeat our own recall abilities by giving the subconscious the commands that we don't know, that we're ignorant. And remember that the subconscious follows the command of the will of the soul, of the self, of the mind. So just hold your pause there and listen and try to visualize me telling you a certain bit of information. One way, by association, is one way you can recall something. There's nothing wrong with our memory. Everything that we see, hear, feel, taste, and touch, we have memorized. What we're trying to do, or what you're trying to do in conversation, in study, in class, is to recall, not remember. You already remember. It's in your memory. Remember is to recall. Is that the new heaven and the new earth is the new mind and the new body. It's the same concept, okay, in sacred symbology. Okay, now that doesn't mean that there is no new heaven up there and that there's not going to be a new earth. There is. Keep in mind, the law of correspondence gives you the insight of wisdom instead of information. Okay, when you talk about spiritual things, you're talking dimensional. You're talking inward and outward, above you and below. Okay? This is above. This is below. Okay. Okay. So the new heaven and the new earth. For the first heaven, the old mind has passed away, is being regenerated, renewed. The old body has passed away. It's being regenerated, renewed. That, again, the idea of, and the queen of the south shall rise up and condemn this generation. This is the queen of the south. You ask any preacher what that means, and they haven't the slightest idea what that means. They don't even know why the queen of the south is even mentioned by Jesus. Because as soon as you hear the idea of queen, they start thinking of a woman outside somewhere. Because their consciousness is locked on the outer, even in terms of things in the scripture. Because they keep seeing these old ancient people moving about in an old world. And these people are in our consciousness. And that's where they live. Okay? The difference between what is real and what is temporarily real. You know, this table is here today. We come back tomorrow, hell, somebody might steal it. It's not, you know. So we need to understand the inner is the reality, that which is invisible to the human senses. Okay, I want to go a little faster than that, but I want to pause every night. Now, what I want you to do is tomorrow, the next day, go back and reread this chapter then when you come next Sunday, I guess we'll be here next Sunday, have some questions, because I'm not going to give you all the information in this chapter. Okay, I wouldn't dare. I've decided I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to give you more than a teaspoonful, that's for sure. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, made ready as a bride adorned for her husband. The average religious mind or Bible reader, not student, is thinking of seeing this beautiful woman in a white robe, bridal gown, floating down from heaven. Okay? And that's not what it means. The bride of the Christ mind is the universe, is the spiritual nature of things. You see. Material is feminine. Okay? The Christ mind is masculine. Okay? This personality given to mind is that which projects itself outward. That's the primal vibration of one vibration, one. That's masculine. Two is feminine. The odd numbers are masculine. The even numbers are feminine. That's even true in higher mathematics. You know, that's a little bit of what they borrowed from the mystical side of numerology. The New Jerusalem, the city, is not a city like this in this scripture. That's what we're going to find out as we get to what I'm illustrating here. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is among men. He shall dwell among them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be among them. And he shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall no longer be any death. There shall no longer be any mourning or crying or pain. The first things have passed away. And he who sits on the throne, behold, he who sits on the throne said, Behold, I am making all things new. And he said, Write, for these words are faithful and true. And he said to me, It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. This is symbological language, establishing principles. That does not mean that Jesus is not forever. He's forever. He's up there. Can't nothing take him down, okay? But he's talking, giving a revelation in symbological language from the first chapter and verse to the 22nd chapter and the last verse. There's nothing in this chapter that is to be taken literally. It is a complete statement of symbolism in revelation and dealing with one enormous mystery. Then, when you understand it and gain it, then is finished the mystery of God. Okay? That's what Christians are supposed to be getting from this very thin pamphlet, as it's referred to in terms of as opposed to a book. Even the concept book does not mean book. It means body. Okay. Okay, let me see here where wait a minute here. I think I done started in front of where I intended to here. I got Revelations 21:1, and that is not where I wanted to be. Okay, 12:1. Excuse me, my apologies.
There should be 12.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 1 is where we're supposed to start. This will, I think, will make more sense. And a great sign appeared in heaven. Okay, the key to what is about to unfold is right there. A great sign, a great symbol is about to unfold. That's the concept of sign as a synonym for symbol or symbology. Appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And she was with child, and she cried out, being in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven, behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads, and 10 horns on his heads were 7 diadems. And his tail swept away a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she gave birth, he might devour her child. Okay. This great sign that appears in heaven as a woman clothed with a crown of 12 stars, I think we dealt with this once before, is representation of 12 signs. Okay? The whole concept is signs. Okay? Not a star as a star in the heavens, but what a star symbolically represents. The 12 signs would then be the 12 stars, and vice versa. Okay. Okay. I think that needs to be emphasized there. Clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet. The whole of the solar system is represented in this verse. Okay. Viewed as a woman, which of course in the 12 signs of the zodiac, there's only one symbol of a woman of the 12, and that's Virgo. Okay. And most astrologers don't carry it that far. They lend more to the idea of virginity, okay, than they do to this deeper revelation of what this particular 30 degrees of knowledge represents. Okay. And where am I now? Hold on just a second here. I was supposed to write these verses down, and I thought I had done that. And evidently I didn't do that. I looked on this thing here and seen. Hold on just a moment here. I got it marked here. Isn't that something? I spent two and a half days on this chapter. Kind of got carried away, too. Isn't that something? Okay. Okay, well, let's go back to Revelations 21, verse I think we'll start off verse 9 so it'll make sense. The Lamb's wife, the New Jerusalem. And one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls full of the 7 plagues came and spoke with me, saying, Come here, I shall show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. Her brilliance was like a very costly stone, as a stone of crystal clear jasper. Okay, now here is where the mathematics begins. Zoom in on this for me, Brother Bay. Chapter 21. Yeah, we introduced the concept of the mother Zedekias in chapter 12, verse 1, and ensigned the fact that we're talking about Virgo in symbological representation of the universe. Now we're going to look at this math. It had a great and high wall with 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names were written on them, which are those of the 12 tribes of the sons of Israel. There were 3 gates on the east. And 3 gates on the north. And 3 gates on the south. And 3 gates on the west. Water, fire, earth, and air. The center of the cross of the circle are those 3 gates. And how much is 4 times 3? Okay. Which gives us the zodiac. Okay, from that point on, we can measure and square the circle with the cross. Okay, here and here. On the east gate is Aries. On the south gate is Cancer. On the west gate is Libra. On the north gate is Capricorn. Fire, water, air, earth. The 4 elements of creation on the physical plane. Okay? We're talking about the principles, the ingredients, the elements of this mystery, this appearance, this sign. Okay? Okay. And the wall of the city had 12 foundation stones. Not rocks, which, interestingly enough, for just the Bible reader, throws the significance of the meaning of that concept, because when we think of stone, most of us, we think of rocks and gravel.
In this version, it only says foundations. In the King James version, it doesn't say stones. It says foundations.
Oh, okay, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I...
You got that too, huh? Okay, okay. Well, that sounds, that's still okay, because the 12 stones are further mentioned in the same book. We'll get to them, but I just want to point out there are the 12 stones. And on them were the 12 names of the 12 apostles. Now, first, they are the 12 sons of Israel. That's the old body, okay? That's the physical man. Then in the New Testament, they're the 12 apostles. Those are your spiritual centers in the body that correlate with these, I done changed the thing, with the 12 signs of the zodiac, okay? That's when you move the knowledge inwardly instead of talking about the outside. That makes both astrology and the book of Revelation significant, particularly now in this cycle of self-discovery, seeking for self-knowledge, and you even hear Europeans on talk shows talking about, I'm searching for myself. I'm trying to find out who I am. That's where we are in this part of the cycle of things. Some of our folks are doing it, and some, I mean some. Some will go by a history book, read it, and think they've discovered who they are in reading about some crazy events during a period when we got stomped in the ground. That is not self-knowledge. Those are unfortunate but necessary circumstance at most, in dealing with his story, and as opposed to the records of the past. Okay. I'm going to try to get all the way through this here, but and then tie it back in with Virgo in its basic 30 degrees. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the 12 names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. The first key in this verse you need to know is the meaning of this word. Name equals nature. I remember I was sitting up listening to Barbara one Sunday a few years ago, and she had gotten so dry and dull because what she was talking about I'd been dealing with 18 years, so she really had gotten to be boring for me. And she finally told these people in the congregation that name meant church. And you heard ahs and oohs like it was the greatest revelation of the century, And all of them should have known that. They should have had that as a precept every time they picked up the scripture and they read a name, that they know that name is talking about something in their nature. That's what all these names in this book, in the Quran, in the Bhagavad Gita, are talking about, something in human and divine nature. Okay? That does not nullify Jesus or the prophets or the saints. It gives you greater understanding about yourself. They are all safe, sound, and raised. And you got to do likewise. Okay. And I don't think they get any kick about hearing their names called every Sunday and praising and so forth. I don't think that does them any great honor. And you really can't raise up Jesus. You can't lift him up. He's already up there. But you can lift up what Jesus means in your own nature. You see? That's really what it means when it says lift up Jesus or lift up the Lord. Okay. And the one who spoke with me had a gold measuring rod to measure the city and its gates and its walls. I got to keep doing this because I make such a bad circle and square. Last time I decided to do it ahead of time. Let me sit that out there so y'all can see it. And the one who spoke with me had a gold measuring rod to measure the city and its gates and its walls. The measuring rod would then be, in this period, the right angle. In the era of your ancestors, it was a ruler. Your ancestors invented the ruler of 12 sections. There's an excellent picture in it in Secrets of the Great Pyramid by Peter Tompkins, an excellent book that they have raised the price of the book. Started out when it first came out, paperback, $9.95. Book costs $30 now. Excuse my interruption there. But this is the measuring rod. Now, how do we know that? It says it right here. And the city is, wait a minute. And the city is laid out as a square, and its length is as great as its width. And he measured the city with the rod 1,500 miles. Its length and width and height are equal. Am I getting to it? Yeah, here it is in verse 17. And he measured its wall 72 yards according to human measurements, which are also angelic measurements. Okay? So the measuring rod is the same for man and things spiritual, for mundane and spiritual, angelic. Okay? The measuring rod. The compass and the square are the measuring rods. Okay? That's if you want to know why the Mason wears this peculiar ring on his finger. That's the compass and the square with a G in the center, which does not represent God. It means geometry. Okay. Okay. All right.
Now you gave us a different measurement, because of the reading, but back in hours again.
Okay.
And he measured the wall thereof in 140 and 40 cubits.
Yeah, right, which measures out to be 1,500 miles. but it's not 1,500 miles. Can you imagine all those souls died and gone to heaven? Because this is what the preacher says this is, that he's talking about heaven, in the heavenly place, okay? Millions upon hundreds of millions of souls for many generations and millennia, all occupying 1,500 miles. That isn't as far as from here to Decatur, is it? Okay, so we know we're not talking about people in a place up in the sky called heaven. Okay? The reality of the idea of heaven is a whole civilization, a whole planet is where you're going when you leave this one. You're going to another planet on another plane of energy. And if your mental achievements have been low, you're going to a place similar to the place you're leaving. You just wake up one day and you, damn. But that's better than waking up down here next to a damaged car where you got thrown out the body and don't know where you are or how to get from where you know, and that happens. Those who have no spiritual consciousness or connect, and they get in a traumatic incident or accident, what most folks call accidents because there aren't any, and they get thrown out the body, and they lose consciousness, and they wake up, and they're on the ground, they get up, and they brush themselves off. Damn, where my car at? And if it took them more than a day to wake up, and they haven't carted their car off, you see, they wake up and the car is gone, and don't let it be in a neighborhood where they don't live. They don't know where they are, That happens. Okay, that's low consciousness. That's earth-bound spirit or consciousness. Okay? The interesting thing about Dr. King, when he got shot, they played the tape back. The first and last thing the man said was what? Anybody remember what he said? Oh, God. And they came and got him. The man had God on his mind all day long. That's the first thing jumped out of his. He didn't holler, ow. He hollered, oh, God. So he got some help in getting out of that body after they had shot him. Okay. Because that's where his consciousness was fixed. And something else I didn't know, most of you Atlanteans do not know that man was a Mason. Isn't that interesting,
Sure is.
The CSLU headquarters has got Masonic all over it. The man had knowledge, is what when you hear particularly a sober black man, because there's some Masons that are drunk. And I got a few of them over in my building. They're just walking around with the ornaments on, and they won't study. They ain't doing nothing. But the man was conscious, is what I'm saying. He was spiritually conscious. I did his chart once. But, well, I'm getting off the track here. Let me get back here. Easy for Jim and I to do. Okay. Are you following with me thus far? Okay. Now, here's the idea of the square. Now, young lady, you can't talk and me talk and you learn. I want you to learn in here. Okay? That's why I'm here. I am not a buck dancer. I'm a teacher, and I need people to teach, but I need your ear so that you can hear. Okay? All right, okay, all right. Yeah, I'm talking about that a little later on. I don't want you to sit down in here and leave as ignorant as you were when you come in. That's a vow I've taken. If black folks will let me. Some of them won't let me teach them nothing.
I think that's why I came. I don't want to come in.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate you coming, and I need your undivided attention. Here in verse 16 and 17, the city is laid out as a square. From here to here to here to here is called a quadruplicity. These four signs, can you see it from Gemini to Virgo to Sagittarius to Pisces and back to Gemini? That's called a qua, which means four, duplicity. What do those four signs have in common? Anybody know? No. And you should know that by now. And I mean for you all to get this book here, okay? You know, if I don't do anything else, I want you all leaving here as students, okay? And if you carry your notes, you'll have something to work with. This is a very good book as an introduction. You're not going to get what I'm giving you now out of here, but you'll certainly have something about the 12 signs, the planetary energy that we're experiencing right now and every day, and something about your own personality character. That's what astrology helps you to do on the mundane, physical side. On the spiritual side, this is of man, God, and the universe. That's what it helps you to do when you break down the symbolism of astrology. Okay. And he measured the wall, 72 yards. Equals what? What does that equal, y'all? Thank you. Now, I want you to look at this. This is inside of each house is 30 degrees. Okay, no, well, okay, in terms of the, okay, I'm just trying to illustrate here. In 30 degrees, they're counted as 10 in decants. Okay, 10 degrees are the measuring tools for interpretation first. Then they are broken down into decants, which is 5 degrees. Okay? So 5 times, well, how much is 5 times 72? Anybody know?
14, 150. 5 times 2 is 10, right, carry 1.
Mm-hmm.
5 times 7 is what, 39?
5 times 7 is 12.
360.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, 5.
Okay. Okay. That's the 72 yards. Okay. These are astrological calculations. They're not talking about land mass. There is no land mass in heaven. And remember, this is the bride New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. Okay? In other words, it is knowledge coming down from heaven about heaven. I like what Elijah Muhammad said about black folks. Said, y'all talking about going to heaven. You're already in the heavens. You're suspended in the heavens. We are. We're floating around in the heavenly region of our universe. We're not just in a solar system or just on a planet. We're in a universe, moving in the heavens. We're in the air. Something else. I think it's important that as many black folks that can get on an aeroplane so they will leave the planet Earth for once in their life while they got this body and get an experience of what it means to be off the planet Earth. That's about the only way most of us can have a physical experience of being off the planet, by airplane. Yes, dear?
Isn't that the same as pie?
No. I just shaped it like a pie. No, the count is...
I mean, 360 degrees, okay, the top of the pyramid, all the way down, all the way under the ground, all the way back up to the top.
Is a full circle of 360 degrees. Yeah.
And that's the same as pi, isn't it? Like that geometric...
Yeah, in terms of using pi as a measuring tool. But pi can be calculated on into infinity. It doesn't have any limitations, but it can be used to count and measure distance in terms of height, breadth, width, and circumference.
Trying to figure out where I heard it before.
Leave that one alone. It'll confuse you. We're trying to deal with the mystery of things, not the arithmetic of things. Okay. And he measured its wall 72 yards according to human measurements, which are also angelic measurements. Okay? Again is the key. Human and spiritual. Okay? That what's up in the sky are both physical and spiritual. Physical as representation of that which is spiritual. Physical as representation, visible, of that which is invisible. Okay? That's the symbological significance of the book of Revelation. It is all symbology. Every person, every animal, monster, every idea or concept is a spiritual, symbolic concept in relationship to your body, the universe, and the nature of God. Okay, let's go on here. And the material of the wall was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like clear glass. Okay? If you could reach up and grab your skull and lift up the top of your head, you would see this clear, crystalline substance that your brain floats on. Okay? This is your heaven. When you get it renewed, it is a heavenly mind. In the mundane, it is a physical mind. It is the old mind. Okay? Remember Old Testament, New Testament, testamente. Okay? If you keep your attention focused on self and knowledge, this will make sense. It's not all going to make sense today. You got to study this. You can't read this. This will scare you if you read it ignorantly. It will sound like all kind of demons are coming after us someday. But if you keep it in the category of symbology and understand gradually, that is verse by verse, the significance of those symbolisms, it will make sense. And that's what I'm trying to do, to break some of it down so that it starts to make more sense. In chapter 19, the foundation stones of the city wall were adorned with every kind of precious stone. Now, what does it say in the Old Testament? You got this, sister.
And the foundation of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones.
Okay, so it finally does mention stone. Okay, now the first thing we need to know about stone is that stones are what kind of material?
Crystals.
Yeah, okay, that's one of the stones. What is a crystal? What is a diamond? Mineral. Okay. The substance that your brain floats in is what? Mineral. Okay. We're on a mineral planet in a mineral body. Okay. The base of the entire solar system is mineral. One of the reasons why those astronauts are out there talking about they're looking for space beams, they're out there trying to find some more gold and silver and other precious stones floating around in the trash atmosphere of meteorites, because there's plenty of it out there. Okay, let me not get off here. The first foundation stone was jasper. Okay, it goes on here to give the 12 stones. Now, turn to Genesis chapter 29, I think. Let me make sure here. I want to get us off on another hunt here. Hold on just a second. I'll let you know in just a second here. (28). Verse 12, starting at verse 11. And this is concerning Isaac and Jacob. And Jacob is who? Who did Jacob become? Right, okay. The father of the 12 sons of. Okay, all right. And he came to a certain place and spent the night there, because the sun had set, and he took one of the stones of the place and put it under his head and lay down in that place. And he had a dream. And behold, a ladder was set on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. The ladder, or Jacob's ladder, is from the concept of the Egyptians' ladder of Set, of all people, of a 12-rung ladder. Okay. I think that's where I want to be in this. Yeah, okay. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give it to you and to your descendants. Your descendants shall also be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread out to the west, to the east. Where's that? And you shall spread out to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. Okay? I'm trying to tie these two in. The reason I keep them going back and forth here is I'm going to do it again. And in you and in your descendants shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Now, most are under the impression that in order to get the blessing of Jacob, of David, of Joseph, they have to become Christians. Okay? Honorary Jews. You know, that's basic, fundamental Christianity. But remember, in the spiritual, we're talking symbolically. If all of the people of the earth are to be blessed by these 12 sons, then there must be a correlation between everybody on the earth and these 12 sons. Okay? Okay, the 12 blueprints on planet Earth is a validation of this knowledge, that there are only 12 basic foundational characters on planet Earth. in various differentiations of degrees in terms of rising, ascendant, and moon position, where they are born, and the other positions of the planet in their chart. Makes the difference between that Leo and that Leo. That Leo speaking Russian, and that one speaking Hungarian, and that one speaking Swahili. They are still Leos. Okay? Now that's the bigger picture. That's the knowledge of self, the knowledge of nature, the knowledge of the universe, and the knowledge of God. Okay? It's all in this book. Okay? You know, from A to Z. Not in A to Z story form. In other words, you don't start in Genesis and come up with that idea. Okay? I quoted before. Some of y'all came in. I want to do it again. The key is given in Isaiah, line upon line, order upon order. A little here and a little there. A little knowledge here and a little knowledge there. That's degrees. You know, we're talking the full circumference of 360 degrees. That's what you're striving for, of knowledge and power. Okay? I don't know if Dr. Young, yes he does, he has his insignia in there. He gives the level and the plump behind his name. He's a 360-degree Mason who got his degrees in both Africa and Spain. You can't even get that over here. But I wanted to point that out to let you know that there are those in our group who are aware of that pursuit, that it isn't anything new. We're not really trying to do something or find something new. We're trying to renew ourselves with what is ancient knowledge. Our spiritual heritage is not things, but knowledge and power. Okay, now I wanted to find another chapter here. Let me see if that does exactly what I could have sworn I wrote this stuff down. Oh. Excuse me just a minute here. My notes. Okay. Let me see if it's in Deuteronomy 33, I think it is. Let me see here. I turn right to it. Exodus chapter 15.
Okay.
Wait a minute, hold on. Exodus chapter 28, verse 15. And you shall make a breastpiece of judgment, the work of a skillful workman, like the work of the ephod you shall make it, of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine twisted linen you shall make it. It shall be square and folded double, a span in length and a span in width. And you shall mount on it 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be a row of ruby, topaz, and emerald. And the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold filigree, and the stones shall be according to the names of the sons of Israel. 12 according to their names. They shall be like the engravings of a seal, each according to his name for the 12 tribes. What does name mean? Nature. Okay. Those keys allow you to tie knowledge in so that it keeps making sense and reflects its other aspects or parts. When you understand the meaning of words, the 12 names of Israel are symbolic representations of the 12 signs of the zodiac. The one we're dealing with is Asher, who represents Virgo. Virgo is considered, first of all, the virgin, which is a peculiar approach to the idea of any human personality. We all start off in the virgin state. There are so few of us that want to stay there, though. Okay? So it's not, the real key is not virginity, but virtue is the real key of Virgo. The idea of Virgo is best depicted in not Rachel, who is the prize of Jacob's eye, but his second wife, Leah, who gave him 4 sons. One of the aspects of Virgo is the prolific procreative process of Virgo. Virgo governs the intestinal tract and the lower part of the nervous system that interrelates with the sexual organs. Does not govern the sexual organs, it governs the nervous system that interconnects with the sexual organs.